My name is Arun. I'm Solutions Architect, MCT, working with Novin Tech, which is one of the best organization to work with. This is my channel, and today we are going to describe Azure Web Application Firewall. All right, so in order to understand Azure Web Application Firewall, we'll try to go through a small scenario so that we can understand what it is. Then we'll see why we use it, and then how can we use it, and what all features that Azure WAF has. So that will help us to describe Azure Web Application Firewall. It is more than expected, but what to say, you are on this channel, you'll get more than expected. All right, so let's suppose this is your virtual network. All right. So what do we have in the virtual network? We must have something like app, uh, virtual machine or app service or anything. Now, if you're wondering how app service is in the VNet, so you know already how it is. They could be private endpoint, they could be VNet integration. All those things has already been covered, so let's not go into it and try to focus on the Azure Web Application Firewall. So let's suppose here is your application running. Okay. This is your application which is running, and this is your virtual network. Your virtual network is your private network. Now, you want folks who are sitting outside can access your application. That's the only reason you are running the application, right? Because you want people to access it. It's a publicly accessible application. So what will happen after all that DNS and all? This guy try to access this application, it will browse and come here to access it, right? But we don't know about this guy, whether this guy is a good one or bad one, trying to harm us, trying to send some bot or something. That's the reason what we do, we apply a firewall on the web request or on the layer 7. Okay. And that firewall is your WAF. This is that firewall, your WAF. All right. It is clear. So in order to protect our web application, which are exposed publicly on layer 7, because even if you have worked on Azure, we open 443 or HTTPS so that people can access our application. So in order to protect it, because people accessing from outside, we have a firewall which is known as Azure Web Application Firewall. This is the absolutely basic concept. So what will happen? This guy try to access this application through that PIP, and this firewall is sitting in between. It will filter it as per the managed rule or the custom rule or all those things which is there in the firewall, and then either block it or let it go and log it. All right. So with this simple concept, we understood web application is like a security guard for your website or web app that lives in Azure. It stands in front of your application and checks every request coming from the internet. If it spots something suspicious, like someone trying to hack, overload, or trick your app, it blocks it before the request even reaches your application. So here the game happens. So this is the very simple concept to understand what is WAF. Now I think we are good with what is WAF. So let's understand why we use it. While explaining what is WAF, we have already know why we use it to protect our application from common attacks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, to stop bot traffic and malicious scanners, and not stop the good bot traffic. Okay. Or maybe it is a part of compliance. This will help your application run up and running without the disruptions. So all those benefits of a firewall is there in Azure WAF, which will help. That's why we use it. Let's put it this way. So how this thing works? Well, this thing works along with the other resource. And what are those resources? Well, this could be your app gateway. Okay, when we deploy app gateway so that we expose our application publicly, it can be deployed along with the app gateway with a WAF version. Okay, we can also deploy it with the help of front door, Azure front door. This again help us to uh, expose application publicly or with other features, but these are individual resources with their own multiple features. But here we are only talking about the WAF. So we can deploy WAF with App Gateway, Azure Front Door, and the third is Azure CDN. Okay. So now we have answered the three important question. What is Azure WAF? Why we use it and how we use it. Okay. With this diagram and all the conversation that we had till now, I think it is good. Now, how it works with App Gateway, Front Door, Azure CDN. And one more thing would like to add here. It also works in two way. One is detection mode. One is prevention mode. Detection mode or prevention mode. Okay. In detection mode, it just logs suspicious activity as I was explaining here. It will scan, either log it or prevent. Prevent mode is actually blocks the malicious request. So usually what happens when we apply this firewall, it goes through a month or so in a detection mode so that WAF is aware if there is any traffic which is not supposed to be blocked, should be allowed. And then we put it in a prevention mode. So this is all about describe Azure Firewall. Now quickly go through the wonderful features that it provides. It will help us to understand it further. All right, so the very first is, as you can see, it is centralized protection uh, for web apps. You can have multiple applications behind Azure Firewall. You can utilize those rules to secure your multiple application. That's why it's a centralized protection for web apps. It will filter all your incoming HTTP or HTTPS traffic before it reaches your application and protect it. Now, we mentioned some example like SQL scripting and cross-site scripting, SQL injection. All those fall under OWASP top 10. OWASP is Open Web App Project Security Project, and it announces the top 10 attacks or vulnerabilities, and it protects all the top 10 and more. It also has managed rule set, which means the rules provided or managed by Microsoft. So Microsoft manages these pre-configured rule set, which are automatically updated to protect you from emerging threats. You can enable them in just few clicks when you utilize the Azure WAF. So custom rules is also there. Managed is managed by Microsoft. Custom is because you would also like to add some rules as per your requirements. So you can create rules specific to your application's need, like filter traffic based on IP, country, request size, or certain strings in URLs. For example, if your app should only be accessed from, let's suppose, UAE, you can block all requests from other countries. You don't need to have a different kind of setup for this. You can apply a simple rule on the Azure WAF. Now, bot protection. It also gives you bot protection. It identifies and blocks bad bots while allowing good ones like Googlebot. It prevents web scraping, automated attacks, and fake traffic. Right? So it is like if a script tries to scrape your product prices 10 times per second, let's say, so web blocks it. All right, then we have rate limiting, which is more or less like throttling. Okay. It controls the number of requests a single client can make in a given time because you don't want more than that. So it protect against brute force login attempts and excessive load, right? Otherwise, if it not block, it will keep forcing it, and one day it will unblock it. right? So it has a limit and it can apply that to the request coming. You also have a geo blocking, which is again a good feature. It allows or denies traffic from a specific geographic location. And it's useful if your business only serves in certain regions or if you like to block certain regions. All right, so logging and monitoring. Again, this will help you if you remember the detection mode, right? One of the examples. It also gets integrated with Azure Monitor, Log Analytics, and of course with your Sentinel, gives full visibility into blocked or allowed requests and attack patterns. You can also see a real-time dashboard of where attacks are coming from. And finally, let's see the pricing because it works with the other resources. So let's only talk about the WAF. WAF pricing is there is some base price and then per request cost involves. Otherwise, it always goes with the product that you use, like front door, CDN, and app gateway. But this price goes with the some base price and a request processing per request cost is there. All right. So if we need to just summarize, we know what is WAF as of now. WAF is a firewall for the web application which are exposed on layer 7. It filters all the HTTPS and HTTP traffic, scans it, detects, and prevention are two modes. Accordingly, it will allow or block the request. It can be deployed in all these three resources, right? Now let's quickly see the different features like centralized protection. Okay, you can control the web firewall rules from one place and it can take care of multiple application behind it. It takes care all the top 10 OWASP rules, roles, top 10 OWASP attacks or vulnerabilities. It has managed rules, automatic updated by Microsoft, custom rule as per your need. You can create some. It will give you the bot protection. If it is a bad bot, it will block, but if it is a good one, it will not. It also gives you throttling if somebody tries to access more than it's supposed to be. Like it will, this kind of rate limiting helps in brute force to stop the brute force. Geo blocking if you are serving a particular geography and would like to block, go with the geo blocking. It has that feature too, and it can integrate with Azure Monitor, Sentinel, Analytics, and you can have all those logging with you. This is helpful even if when you are running it in a detection mode, so that logging will help you and see whether some important requests are not blocked because maybe the firewalls think it is a threat. And the pricing we talked about how it is priced. So with this, I think we are good with the describe Azure Web Application Firewall. We have learned more than we supposed to be as per the exam SC900, which is fundamentals. You would not have deep dive questions there. This is more than enough. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope it was informative. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.